Hi and welcome to the Azam Shop channel on YouTube. I'm your host Mohammad Azam, and this is the part number 7 of the learning iOS development. And in this part we are actually going to use whatever we have learned, and we are going to develop a tip calculator, a very simple application. So you'll have an idea about how to use Objective-C, how to use the interface builder, and also we are going to learn about delegates. All right, so let's get started. And this will be a very simple tip calculator. So this is our interface builder. The tip will be displayed right over here because that is the main part of the app. I mean, you are more interested in the tip than anything else. And there will be a button, a text box, okay, where you will actually enter the total amount. So we can have something. To designing interface is also an art, okay, and right now I'm just dragging and dropping, but you have to be very careful of where you put the buttons. Are they reachable by your thumb, because thumb is actually doing most of the work. All right, oops, okay, here we go. So we're going to say enter total amount. So this is your total amount, basically, your total bill if you have eaten in a restaurant. And let's make it a little bit, a little bigger, I guess, if I can get hold of it. There we go. Move this on the side, I guess. That might be too much on the side. There we go. And we will have. Wow, it's kind of weird. Okay, here we go. So we'll have this kind of like this. And why does this always pop in? Okay, here we go. Where's the button? Here we go. And we'll just say the button will say something like calculate tip. Okay, and tip, this will be the placeholder for the tip. So the tip will be displayed over here. Let's say tip. All right, so this will be the thing where the tip will actually be displayed. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So let's actually hook up these things. We have a tip to display. We have the text box entry to hook up to the view controller, and we have the event that will be fired when you click the calculate tip button. So let's do that. I'm going to say over here IB outlet, and this will be what, UI label. It's kind of very slow, and this will be tip label. Okay, and this will be IB outlet UI text field, and this will be the total amount, basically. So I will say total amount text field. And these are the two things that we will actually declare. Oops, have to have a, since this is a reference type, you must have an asterisk or a star. Property non-atomic retain IB outlet UI label, and then tip label. And then property non-atomic retain, and we are declaring the property for the UI text field, and we'll call it total amount text field. Okay, now the reason we have declared this IB outlets is that so our view controller can hook up with the elements on the interface. And if I go over here in my XIB file, which is the interface file, design view file, and file owner, if I right click on it, well, you can actually see that these are available. Okay, so tip label will actually hook up with the tip label on the screen, and the total amount text field will be hooked up to the text field over here. Okay, so we're not done yet. because we still need to make a method that will be fired when you press the calculate tip button. So let's actually go ahead and do that. And we also have to synthesize the properties. So let's actually synthesize first tip label, and then it was the total amount field. There we go. And let's go back to the header file, and now we have to declare an IB action. So I will say IB action calculate button clicked. That's it. And I think if I go over here and simply just implement this action, IB action calculate button clicked, and here we go. All right, we need to basically hook up this event to the actual button. So I'm just going to right click, and you can see this received action. We have a new action that we declared. It's called calculate button clicked. I'm just going to hook up this to the button itself, and then I have to select that which event or what do I do to the button so that it will fire. So I'm just going to say touch up inside, which means that whenever I touch the button, there we go. All right, so that's done. Let's actually build this. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to calculate the tip. Okay, and so let's actually get the value from out of the text box. I'm just going to say float and amount, whatever the amount the person has entered, self dot total amount text field dot text. Okay, but we need to convert this into some value, okay, into some other value. So let's actually see how we can do that. Float value, and you will convert the amount, or will convert the string amount into a float amount. Okay, float tip equal to amount multiply by, let's say, I don't know, 10% or something. Not sure if I'm doing it right or wrong, but if I do it like this, okay, and then I can simply say self dot label, basically. So it will be tip label dot text equal to tip. Okay, but now the tip is actually in the what format? It is in the float format. So we're just going to convert it ns string and string with format, and I'm going to say, I think F might be for the float. I'm going to add a $sign just for the display purposes, and I'm going to say over here tip, not tip label, just tip. Okay, and this will return me the tip, and it will assign it to the label whenever I press the button. So let's actually run this. Our simulator just pops out. So here we go. We're going to enter something over here. Let's see. I'm just going to enter like $56.45. Now the problem is that if I press the return key, you can see there's nothing going on, because what should happen is when I click the return, it should hide the text box, because if it doesn't hide, there's no way for me to click the button, right? So let's actually do that. So basically what we need to do at this point is that we need some way to find out that the text box or the control on the view has thrown an event. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by the use of delegates. So every control has a delegate, and usually the delegate starts from this, like UI text field, and then the name, basically the suffix is the delegate. Okay. So delegate actually means that whenever different actions take place on the element, which is in this case is a UI text field, we are going to subscribe to those events, and then we are going to implement our custom logic. Now there are multiple delegates, okay, and let's see if I can actually pull it up. UI text field delegate over here, UI text field delegate. It's always a good idea to actually go to the documentation, and then you can actually see that what delegates you need to implement. Now it's not completely necessary to implement all the events or all the delegates, okay, like the ones that are necessary for the delegation to work. It will show in the documentation that it is compulsory and you must implement that. It's required. Now none of them actually say that it's required, right? So but we do need this one, which is text field should return, and it has to be implemented exactly the same way. So it's much better if you go over here and basically just select this, okay, and implement this. So I'm just going to go over here into, here we go. So I just implemented this particular delegate, text field should return, and this is basically fired when you press the return key on the keyboard. And I'm just going to say return. Let's see. Text field was it a reassign on active or something? Reassign first responder. So it will reassign to the first responder, and we're just going to return this. Okay. Let's actually go and run this and see what happens. So I clicked over here. I go to my this one and I say return. So nothing actually happened. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah. So after you do that, you have to also tell the text box, the UI text field, that who is the person who has subscribed to me, okay, subscribed to my event. So if I just click on it, you will see this delegate, okay, and you have to just drag and drop to the file owner, so that the text field should know that where to send the events. So now it knows that the view controller is subscribed to my events, and whenever something happens, I need to send a message to the view controller, and view controller is basically subscribed to the events. Okay, so here we go. We go over here. We say 56.34. We say return, and you can see now that it is being returned, and then we calculate the tip over here. Of course, you don't want to display all that, so you can adjust that particular thing. Tip should be, I think, if you are, well, there we go. Let's pull this down over here, and there we go. I mean, you can actually set a different size. I don't know why. Here we go. And you should give it ample room to expand. It's really hard to get hold of. Anyway, but you get the idea. The tip should be, you should make the important function to be really large, and here we go. So you get the tip or something, so you have to pay this to the waiter or whatever. So that's it. I mean, this was a very simple example, very simple application where you learn many different things. You learn that how to connect the outlets to the view controller. You also learn how to implement the delegates, and you will be using a lot of delegates if you're doing iPhone programming. And always have the documentation open for delegates, because you have to write the exact same name of the delegate or the method of the delegate. Okay, it cannot be different. If you think you like this video, if this has helped you in any case, I do appreciate the donations, and I take the donation using PayPal. You can send out a donation, anything, to adamsharp@gmail.com, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.